So I've done one double crochet in each of the crochets that we did in the loops. So now we're going to, because it's kind of wide, so now we want to start decreasing. So I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to decrease. I'm going to go into the first loop, and I'm going to do a double crochet. The next one I'm going to do a double crochet, grab the yarn over, but don't pull it off the hook. Go into the next loop and do the same thing, and this time pull through 3 loops and then 2. So I'm going to do that to every other stitch until I get this small enough that it won't be so big around the neck of the jar. So I finished the last one. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 stitch. Now you see it's smaller, so now you want to try it on your jar. It should be a little tight because we're getting to the neck portion. So I'm going to squeeze it on. There we go. And then as you see, it's pretty much right where it needs to be. Now if you want to test it out to see if you need to do more, because remember you've got to put a handle on it. And your handle is going to come up like this, so you want to make sure that you've got enough room so it's not pulling the yarn up. So I'm going to do one more row. And to finish off, I'm going to do, I like the width of this, so I'm going to do single crochet stitches to kind of keep it intact, because the single crochet stitches don't stretch as much as the double crochets. So I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to do one double crochet in the first one single crochet in the first double crochet, and I'm going to do that in the next 3, and then for every 3 I'm going to put 2 inside of it, just to make up for the space that we're going to lose from going to a single crochet. Slip stitch in the top of the chain 2 that you did. Now you want to try it on your jar again and make sure that's good. And then it actually takes almost 3 hands to do this. But there we go. Got it on. So now we stretch it and pull it. And now you can see how it came up to the top of the jar. So now we're pretty much done with the jar. So now what we want to do is add our handles. Okay, to do my handle, I'm going to do the handle on the jar so that way I can get it nice and centered, because if not it'll be kind of lopsided. So I'm going to, in my case, you can make your handle as long or as short as you want, but I'm going to chain 40 because that's the length of the one that I have on the yellow one, and it works good for this jar. So chain 40, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 39, and 40. Okay, so now what you want to do is bring this right over the jar. And if you're not sure, you can measure if you want, but I'm just going to eye it. And I'm going to put a marker or paper clip or a pen or anything to kind of mark it. So you want to kind of look down in the jar and make sure your yarn is halfway centered over the jar. So pull it kind of tight so you can kind of see. And once you see that it looks pretty centered, you want to mark that loop. And so that loop is going to be right here. So that's the loop that I'm going to use. So I put a pin mark there. So now you'll go back and make sure you keep your single crochet chain straight and come straight over, and then I'm going to go inside of this particular loop right here, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch to bring it together. Okay, so now that I've got it hooked, I can take it off the jar now. Okay, now that we've got it connected, I chain 1, and I'm going to do a single crochet in the first chain and into the first base all at the same time. And then I'm just going to keep doing a single crochet up the side of the chain till we get to the other side. And what we're trying to do is make the base sturdy and wide as well. So single crochet all the way across until you get to the other side. So I've reached the other side. I'm at the last single crochet or last chain, so I'm going to single crochet in that last chain, and then I'm also going to single crochet in the base stitch as well. and then I'm going to single crochet in the next stitch next to it, and then I'm going to turn my work, and now I'm going to go back up and crochet back up the side. By doing this, I'm making the handle wider at the base, and it makes it a little more sturdier. So you can see how wide my handle is now, and that's the look that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this on across to the other side. So now I'm back to the other side, and as you can see how wide it is, so now I need this to come down like that. So now that I finished that side, I'm going to go into the next stitch and then do a single crochet as well, and then I lock that one in. And I'm going to chain one and turn, and I want this handle to be really thick, so I'm going to go through this handle again. So now I've gotten my band or my strap the width that I wanted. So now I want to finish it off, and I'm just going to anchor back down. Now that I'm finishing this one, I'm going to anchor down in the next stitch, come through, pull it through, and now I want to clip my thread. So I clip the thread, and then I'm just going to pull the thread out, pull the yarn out, and here is where you want to do your finishing. To finish it, I'm using some yarn needles, and I'm just going to insert the yarn inside the eye. And to finish off, I'm actually going to do my finishing inside of the handle itself, but you're just going to lock the stitch back and forth so that it doesn't come undone. And then there's no set way to do this. I'm just locking it in and just making sure it's secure, doing several knots, and then I'm just going to cut it. That's pretty much all you do there. Our jar holder is done, so now we're going to squeeze it back on the jar. You might need some assistance with this if yours is as tight as mine is, but there we go. Slide it up, and I want it snug and tight like that. So now it's finished, so now it's pretty sturdy, and I think it'll hold my gravy like I want it. So now that that's done, we need to work on the lid. Okay, to do the lid, I switched to a size F hook, a smaller hook, because we're working with a smaller space. And you're really going to do the exact same thing you did before, starting with a chain of 4, joining the circle, and then adding chain 2, and add 9 single crochets inside of the chain, or the hole there, and 9. And then we're going to slip stitch into the chain 2 space, and then we're going to chain 2, and I'm going to do single crochets to start with on our base. So we chain 2, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets in each of the chains, or each of the single crochets, or each stitch. So that's going to give us 18. So let's go ahead and do those now. And 18, and slip stitch into the chain 2 space, or the chain 2. So now we're going to chain 2 again, and this time I'm going to do half double crochets. So I'm going to do 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch, and that'll give us our increase. So that's 1 half double crochet, and then the next stitch you're going to do 2 half double crochets, and you'll repeat this pattern all the way around until you get back to the beginning. Slip stitching into the chain 2, into the top of the chain 2, and you're going to repeat this stitch until it gets to about to where you want it to come off the edge. Okay, now I finished that round. So now we're going to do this row. We're going to increase every second stitch. So we'll do 1 half double crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then 2 half double crochets in the third stitch. So we'll go single 1, 2, and then the third stitch, add 2 of them. 1, 2. So we'll repeat that all the way around. Okay, so I completed that row. So now I'm going to put it on top of my lid. And as you can see, it's right where I need it to be to get it to curl. So I'm going to chain 2. And just as we did the base of the jar, we're going to do the same thing with the lid. You're going to do a half double crochet in the back loop only. And you're going to do 1 half double crochet in every stitch, and this will have it to curl up again. So now I'm back around, so I'm doing my last stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the chain 2, top of the chain 2. And now we're getting the bowl shape again, and you sit your lid inside, and you can see now it's ready to come over. So now we want to start decreasing. I'm going to do single crochets now. So I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to single crochet in the first stitch, and then I'm going to single crochet in the next one, but I'm not going to pull the thread through, and then I'll go through the next one, pull the thread through, and then pull through all 3. So I'll single crochet in the next, and then the next one I'll go through the loop, the stitch, grab the yarn, go through the next stitch, grab the yarn, and pull through all 3. Single crochet in the next, decrease, go through, pull the yarn through, go through the next one, pull the yarn through, and then pull through all 3. And this will cause it to curl in even more. So we'll do this all the way around. Okay, I'm down to the last, where I'm going to decrease the last of my stitches. So we're going to pull this out. So now you're getting this little curl shape because you want your lid to sit inside of that. So now we're going to take the lid, and you want to force the lid inside, and it should be tight. So if you do it correctly, then this is pretty much what you get. So I'm going to chain 1 this time, and I'm just going to do a single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around, just to kind of make it nice and tight. So whenever you're finishing up your jar or your lid, you always want to finish with a single crochet because it'll stop it from stretching any further. Slip stitch in that first stitch, and I'm going to cut my yarn because I think I'm pretty much done here. And I'm going to pull the yarn through. And before I finish that off, see, it's got a nice little curl to it. It almost looks like a little donut turned in on itself. You want to finish the stitches off by taking your crochet needle or your crochet sewing needle or yarn needle, whatever we call it, and just finish off the stitches. Clip it. Now we'll put the lid back inside. Like I say, force it back in there. Wrap it all the way around. And there, see how by doing that single crochet stitch, it locks it in so it doesn't come undone. And you just screw it onto your top, and now your jar is finished. So now that our jar is finished, you just insert some candles inside, and inside both here and here. Put your lids on, and put your lid on here. And now you have 2 cute lanterns that you can use. But now you have your candles, and you're ready for another Hurricane Michael or whatever hurricane or storm may come through when you lose your lights. Now you'll have your very own lantern that you can walk around the house with. So I hope you try this tip. Happy crocheting!